Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Jordan. I wanted to make a video today to kind of show you how I approach the top whenever it comes to consultations. A thing that I hear a lot of people do that really, maybe this is the cosmetology school in me that gets this, but whenever people say leave the top, right, and the barber just doesn't ask any further questions, that's one of those things that it grinds my gears, because you can tell when it happens. Someone's walking around with a haircut and you can look at it and you know exactly what that client told that barber, and that barber just said, all right buddy, you know, whatever's quick, you know, hey, less work I have to do. But I want to say most of the time whenever your client is telling you to leave the top, they don't really know that there's another option. They think whenever you're cutting the top, you're cutting length off, right? But that's not always the case, because your bangs, you know, they may love where their bangs are at, but whenever, you know, they go to style it, you know, maybe it's a little too much weight. You know, maybe if you do a taper on the side, if you do a fade, a lot of times if you don't cut the top, you're gonna have overhang and stuff, and the overhang is what's gonna look really bad. You know, I know whenever I see some of these blowout hairstyles, the thing that drives me crazy is the overhang, you know, and you can have, a lot of these haircuts do have a disconnection, but it's appropriate disconnection. And you have to disconnect with purpose. You can't just throw a taper underneath something and let the top overhang. I think it works in some cases, but whenever it's a drastic difference, it looks really bad, and I'm not a fan of it. So for you, if you're also not a fan of that and you want to know how to get around that without taking much off the top, this video is for you. So for the consultation, the things that I would ask, right, is whenever your client's saying nothing off the top, right, are they saying that they like where the bang length's at, or do they like the weight? If they like it all, then you can say, all right, well, I'm probably gonna have to take some off back here behind the ear to connect in, and then we'll leave all that and we'll leave all this, okay? And that's like bare minimum, right? But if they like where the length's at, but maybe they do think it's too heavy, there's ways to layer and not touch this, and that's what I'm going to show you today. Okay, now I have the side panels cut down. I didn't really do anything crazy there. This is a mannequin I've already cut on, and I'm not really trying to like redo the whole style for this video. I'm trying to save some hair on it for future videos. Call me cheap, I don't know. I'm gonna get us to a bang length that I don't hate for this. Okay, so we're gonna say, you know, a lot of times, you know, they're gonna ask. A lot of times the clients are gonna ask for like mid eyebrow or eyebrow. Like if they want it to sit at the eyebrow, generally you're gonna cut it mid eyebrow depending on their hair and what's going on. If they want it at the eyebrow, a lot of times it's gonna sit a little higher. So we're gonna act like this guy has some grown out hair. And so I'm gonna cut it level, like bottom of the eye there. And the style on this haircut before was like a pompadour mullet. So and I'm not trying to cut anything crazy. I want this to look just even for the style and grown out. So, you know, a hypothetical, if you will. So cool. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Now, I did have the sides cut a little tighter, but I'll show you kind of what I mean from like the ear back to connect in, and then we can leave the front, and then I'll show you how you can layer it without really touching anything on this. Now, the overhang, right here, I'll zoom in a little bit on this. Okay, so what we're looking for with this is a little disconnection, and I'm just going to try to like cut this in a way where I'm not super in front of the camera. So at the ear here, you can see it's just give you like a white surface here. You can see it's just a little bit of hair we're going to cut off at the ear just to blend in to that side panel, right? Because at this point the client has came in and we've cut on the sides, and now we're just trying to blend in this part right here, right? So now ears forward, we're just going to make sure that we have a even connecting line. So you can tell, right, it's very minimal hair off right there, just a little trim, a little trimmy trim. And now we're still disconnected. We're in theory leaving all of this length up here alone. So whenever they style it, they're not going to notice anything different right here. You can even see there's like an overhang piece right there. But if that's what the client's wanting, right? Like they like where that bang's sitting. They came in to tighten up the sides, but they're wanting you to leave this alone. And so that's how I would do that, where if the wind hits them in a wrong way, you know, and they come back, it's going to sit just fine that way. Now your client's never going to wear their hair like that if they're wearing the forward style, okay? I'll show you on the other side here. So same thing. It's going to be a little more off on this one, but we're still aiming at the ear, right? So everything, the ear forward, we're going to just kind of take a minimal amount off. So I mean, you can see that it's just a little bit, but it's not the bangs, okay? Yeah, just a smidge there. So now we're all connected here, and that's as connected as it can be. We haven't removed any weight. If they are saying that it is too heavy, this is how you can approach that and still leave the bang. We've done just a little bit on the sides, not enough to really count. And then the bangs, they're the same, right? We haven't touched any of that yet. So if you want to layer the top without affecting the bang length, this is how you approach that. So I just want to show you from this angle, because with the way that I cut, I don't do central profile guides, but I just want to show you what you're looking for this way. You have this hair here. This is the bottom here. I'm going to put on this cape. Okay, so you have this hair here in the very front. So you know, as long as you cut behind that, you're not actually going to affect any length there, right? So whenever you're in cosmetology, you know, you see the pie sections, right? So this is what I'm showing you now. So you're free to take off this point right there, and that's going to soften this up without actually taking away any length. See? You see how when I cut this, or when I have this in my hand, right, that falls out, my point is still there. All the hair that I'm going to cut is still right there. So how I'm going to do that and what I'm looking for is, because I know this is cut how I want it, so I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to pull it straight out like that. Okay, and then just to make sure, I'm going to make sure that that bang length, I'm not going to go into that. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for right there. Okay, so that's the angle. I'm going to do it this way so you can actually see me make the cut. Okay, I'm going to pull the bangs out. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm good to cut. Okay, and then now I'm safe to walk it back. And like I said, none of this is affecting that bang length at all. So we're going to be in the exact same place whenever I drop this down. And then also, you know, you can go through and texturize and everything, but this is just a video for layering. Yep, cool. That should be all I have to take off. So now, whenever I turn the head back around, okay, well, turn it back around this way. Yeah, so when I turn it back around this way, you can see we've softened that up. There is no more point there. Now, you can always keep going, right? I don't want to go too soft, but now we over direct back. Okay, and there is our line that we made. And now, you look at it, the bangs are where they were, they're just a smidge softer, and you have no overhang. You have no overhang on the side, and your client's not going to walk around like a goober. So I'm going to get our boy styled and then results at the end.